Welcome back to this, already the final segment for Tuesday's edition of The Price of Business. Delighted to be with you, talking to you about you and your business. I'd like to have a conversation with my good friend Charles Alvarez, and he is a sales and marketing consultant extraordinaire, has worked directly with my companies and does a phenomenal job at raising any company's game to the next level, and always delighted to have him on the program. He's with Cornerstone Business Academy. By the way, that's how you can find him as well. CornerstoneBusinessAcademy.com with a couple of guests for you here today. Charles, why don't we jump right straight into the conversation and introduce your guests for us?
We have Jay and Caroline with us with Malone and Bailey. Welcome to the show, guys and girls.
Thank you for having us. You meant that in the anthro sense of the word, as an anthropology. There you go. Yeah, Caroline Rosen and Jay Norris. Apparently, you and I are both going to have to go get our tongue bobbed after we're done here today. Well, we'll go ahead and start with Caroline. Kind of give us an overview of the firm itself.
Sure. Well, thank you for having us today. Malone Bailey, we're a CPA firm. We're headquartered here in Houston, Texas. We have offices in New York and one in Shenzhen in Beijing, China. We are a CPA firm. We specialize in audit services for public companies, and right now we're serving around 165 public companies that are come from all different states, all different countries.
Yeah, very good overview. Go ahead, Charles.
So, Jay, tell us, it's pretty rare that you're not a Big Four accounting firm yet, but you service quite a bit of public companies. Tell us what makes you qualified or uniquely positioned to be able to service that market.
Sure. Our firm was founded on the principle that the smaller public companies were underserved by the accounting firms. And so our market niche is really catered to the smaller public companies.
Yeah, and let me ask you, Carolyn, real quickly, define a smaller publicly owned firm.
That could be really anywhere from 0 to 100 million in revenue.
Not zero. If it's publicly owned.
Well,
unless it's a penny stock.
Some are in the development stage.
Yeah, okay, very good. Charles?
So I understand that there's a couple of regulations that I think have to be adhered to. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So, as I was mentioning earlier, we audit over 160 public companies, and that puts us in a unique position where there's only 9 firms in the world that audit over 100 companies.
Wow.
And so we're one of 9. And that puts us in a unique regulatory situation where we're inspected by the PCAOB annually. Again, one of 9 firms that get that privilege. And so,
if that's the word you want to use. But anyway, very good. By the way, I do want to mention this. Malone Bailey is the website. That's MALONE Bailey, BAILEY.com. Go ahead there, Charles.
So tell us. I understand that there's an organization called the PCAOB that regulates that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are they in the habit of shutting firms down?
Yeah, there's been a trend in the industry over the past few years. The PCAOB have come in and scrutinized the firms, all firms, but primarily the smaller firms are getting scrutinized quite a bit because the regulatory requirements of the PCA are very strict, and a lot of these smaller firms simply don't have the resources to comply with all the rules and regulations. And so you're seeing more and more of these smaller CPA firms that do public companies or audit public companies getting shut down. As a matter of fact, I think the PCAOB has shut down more firms in their short existence than the AICPA has in the entire existence of it.
Yeah, let me ask you real quick, Caroline, how long has that auditing board or that governing board been in existence? Or Jay, either one of you. Do you know how long that's been around?
Yeah, it came out after the Enron, and I believe...
So about 2002?
About 2002, 2003 is what I remember.
Charles?
So if I were if I'm listening to the show and I'm the CEO of a publicly traded oil and gas company, and I hear that, what type of measures have you taken to ensure that doesn't happen to you? Like if you hired somebody, do you have an advisory board? How do you go about mitigating that risk and making sure that you're compliant?
Right. And so as I mentioned earlier, we're focused on providing audit services to public companies, and we do that over 160 clients. We see 600 filings a year. It just came to the point where we had to hire somebody internally to really help us with the compliance, the PCAOB compliance. So we actually hired a PCAOB inspector to come in and to oversee our quality control.
Wow.
And he heads up right now our interaction with the PCOB. He makes sure that we're in compliance with the PCOB rules and regs, and he also helps us on the concurring partner role, where he's actually overseeing the audit engagements to make sure that we're complying with all the rules.
So you have a full-time employee that does nothing but making sure that y'all are compliant to make sure that your clients get the best service and y'all stay compliant.
That's absolutely right. There's too much risk not to have that person.
Caroline, let me ask you real quickly. So you're involved with marketing communication, but I'm sure you could be able to tell us a little bit about the China connection. I find rather interesting.
Yes.
Why China? You think London, maybe Paris?
Right. We have one audit partner he is from China originally, and a couple years ago he got into taking Chinese companies public here in the United States. And so over the past, 5 or 6 years, that practice has grown significantly to the point where we needed to open up operations in Beijing and Shenzhen to serve our clients that are in China. So now we have probably close to 20 staff between those two offices.
Do you want to mention one more time, MaloneBailey.com, and you can also learn more about what Charles does at CornerstoneBusinessAcademy.com. Need to wrap it up, Charles. Got any final comments or thoughts or questions you want to pose real quick?
Just one more. So if I hired an accounting firm and I'm a publicly traded company for an oil and gas company, and my CPA firm gets shut down by the PCOB, what happens to me?
Well, what happens is you have to find another auditor to begin with, and then in that situation, when the audit firm that you used before loses their registration, they are no longer able to reissue their audit opinion. Therefore, the new audit firm has to audit not only the current year, but also prior year as well. So it's very costly to these companies.
Gotta go. Lady and gentlemen, so delighted to have you all with us here today. I'm Kevin Price. Still hope you have a great rest of your day. Spend it wisely right here on this station.